haven't you?
I've spent 70 plus hours.
About 75 hours, is that right?
Yes, that's about correct.
And you're currently being paid $500 per hour for each of those 75 hours, is that right?
Yes.
And that $500 per hour, that is actually twice your normal rate, isn't that right?
Yes, and I have plans to start a foundation in Sydney Park's name if I get the permission from the Park family.
However, when you were just being offered your normal wage of $250 per hour, you did not want to accept this case.
Right, when the 500 was offered, that's when I decided to take on this case to send the message for the risks associated with having a gun in the home. That's when I decided to start this association.
And in addition to having your rate doubled, you are also being paid $5,000 just for your time in court today.
That is my standard rate for travel expenses, yes.
And all of this money, twice your normal rate, as well as the amount to be in court today, is being paid to you by Hayden Durant. Isn't that right?
Yes, and most of that would be donated to an association I'm going to start, hopefully in Sydney Park's name.
Now, this isn't the first case involving firearms that you've worked on, is it?
No, it is not.
In fact, you've worked on 15 cases in the past that involve firearms.
Yes.
And in each of those 15 cases in the past, you have worked against the gun owner or the manufacturer.
Yes, I have.
And today, for the 16th time, you are once again working against the gun owner.
Yes, that is true.
So it would be safe to say that you are pretty anti-gun yourself, is that right?
No.
However, your email address is ashderosa at Parents Against Guns. Isn't that true?
Yes, I'm all for parents safely maintaining their guns.
But despite your email address being ashderosa at parentsagainstguns.com, you still maintain that you are not anti-gun yourself?
I am not anti-gun. I am pro-gun being stored safely.
Now, I'd like to talk to you about a few of the things you mentioned on direct. Now, you mentioned that the presence of a firearm is one of the factors to lead to an accidental shooting?
Yes, the presence of a firearm does make it substantially more likely that an accident can occur.
However, the presence of a firearm being present in a home also means that increases the possibility of somebody using that firearm intentionally. Isn't that right?
That is true as well.
Now, as for the accessibility of a firearm, if a firearm in a home is accessible, then that also means that that firearm can be used intentionally. Isn't that right?
It does, but it also means that it plays a factor in an accident happening as well.
Now, as for the age of the individuals, you believe that it would be possible for a young individual to act with intent with a firearm?
It's possible, but it's also very probable that people of that age are not exposed to the proper safety training, and that is why an accident is much more likely to occur.
Let's talk about the level of firearm safety training.
Okay.
You believe that even if an individual has no training, they can use a mere internet search to figure out how to effectively load a firearm?
How to load, yes, but not safely handle.
You also believe that somebody could figure out how to load that firearm effectively just by toying around with it in their hands?
Yes.
So then you would believe that generally a regular revolver has a fairly simple operating mechanism?
For an adult. For a child, it is not probable that a child would be able to figure it out, but it is possible.
And you said specifically in your report, or you mentioned you believe specifically that...
Objection, Your Honor. Opposing counsel's phrasing of the question calls for hearsay. Pursuant to your earlier ruling, either counsel are not allowed to phrase their questions in this matter.
What was the wording of your question?
I was about to rephrase it, Your Honor, to not include that, but I was essentially just asking the witness if it is her opinion that a firearm can be...
Okay. Why don't we just ask
I'll rephrase the question, Your Honor. Dr. Rosa, it is your belief specifically that Jesse Duran could potentially have figured out how to operate this firearm without any level of training?
Yes, it is possible, but like I said, not probable.
Let's talk about specifically one of the ways that you said that a firearm could be accidentally discharged.
Okay?
Now, you believe that one of the ways that could happen is if an individual accidentally pulls the trigger without meaning to fire it?
That is one of the ways, yes.
Now, for that to happen, just to clarify, the individual would have to fully compress the trigger for the gun to fire.
The pressure on the trigger can be enough.
Yes, but nevertheless, that's yes to my question. The trigger would have to fully be compressed.
Yes, whether by a hand or the force of someone throwing it, catching it, things like that do happen.
So if somebody were, so for a gun to fire accidentally by catching, somebody would have to catch a gun in a way that their fingers wrap around the grip, wrap into the trigger, and then still have enough force to fully pull back the trigger. Is that right?
Not at all.
What is the other way that a gun could discharge in
The
that
force
situation?
of the pressure of the dropping motion, if the gun arches up, if someone tosses it on the arch downwards, the force that is compressed on the trigger can be enough to compress that trigger, depending on the weapon.
However, wouldn't you believe that if a gun were to just go off just by the force of being caught, then that gun would have to be pretty mechanically unreliable?
Sometimes it happens, you know, it does. It's unfortunate, it really is, but it happens.
But is that a yes to my question that for a gun to just go off just by the force of being caught, that gun would have to be mechanically unreliable for that to happen?
It doesn't have to be, no, depending on the pressure compressed on that trigger by the toss. It would depend on the person throwing the gun.
So you believe that a mechanically reliable, well-built firearm could be prone to going off just by the force of being caught?
I didn't say prone, I said it was possible.
But a mechanically well-built firearm?
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Rosa. No further questions, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there will be no redirect examination. I asked the witness